To Morning Live. Now, in line with the SABC's mandate, the public broadcaster has entered into an agreement with the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistics Communities. The aim is to create a platform that will help promote tolerance and accepting other cultures. We are joined in studio now by Soli Motsweni, the SABC's Group Executive for Corporate Affairs, and with her is the chairperson of CRL, and that's Toko Mkhwanazi Kaluva. Good to have both of you. Welcome to Morning Live. Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. All right, so let's begin with you. What necessitated this formal agreement?
As the SABC, as you indicated earlier, our mandate is to ensure that we cover and produce programs that speaks to all South Africans. We have to broadcast in all official languages. And one of the key things that necessitated this relationship was that most of the marginalized languages don't get to be shown appropriately on air. And we are hoping that with the rollout of DTT, we would have fully fledged platforms where programs in your isiNdebele, isiSwati, Chivenda also get to be given prime time. But currently, as the SABC, we are trying, by all means, based on the limited channels that we have, to give the necessary programs, be it educational programs or entertainment. But what is also key is that religion that we cover does not only focus on your charismatic religion, but also African religion. And as the SABC, we realize when we look at our programming strategy that we have not done really well. So we felt that when we were approached by the chairperson and her commission, that we needed then to formalize the project and make it into enter into an MOU where we commit now formally to say, be it on sports programs, the broadcast of indigenous games, be it on news bulletins, on day-to-day programming, be it dramas, comedies. We want to ensure that there is that representation so that we don't infringe on the rights of the marginalized.
Let's talk about the organization. Obviously, holding a lot of influence. I mean, getting up to the SABC, where it's the biggest broadcaster in the country with all of the channels, and I suppose this is where it should all start. But what is it that your organization actually does?
We are a Chapter 9 institution formed through the Constitution. And our role is to promote and protect cultural, religious and linguistic rights of all communities. So you're looking at how you promote issues of Afrikaners, for instance, issues of various tribes, issues of various interests around religions, around culture, around languages. So we're set up in order to make sure that what happened during apartheid era, that saw certain languages, certain religions and certain cultures being marginalized, that all of those are now promoted and they take the center stage as well, so that everybody feels they belong here and they're part of South Africa.
And I suppose, especially when you turn on a television, you turn on a radio, you want to feel welcome, you want to feel that this is, it's your country as much as it's everyone else's country. Now, from the SABC's perspective, obviously the MOU is there. We've decided that as an organization we're going to follow in these rules, but when? What is the plan? When is this going to be implemented?
As the SABC, we feel that cultural, linguistic and religious rights are human rights. We've put that in the forefront of our programming. As you know, we've issued an RFP book in October last year, and the brief that we've given to the production industry is to ensure that those languages come up. So new programs starting in as soon as October this year would reflect that. So we are committing to ensuring that we do represent all other South Africans, and we promote the use of these languages, because we find that as citizens we have become so accustomed to speaking in your most popular languages, be it English and Afrikaans, and we find that some of these other languages are not really promoted even at home. So we are also having a call to action to communities that use your mother tongues, so that our children and the future generation learns and nurtures from these languages from home. Because it is also very important for us to tell parents that you cannot be expecting the public broadcaster to ensure that we broadcast in all 11 languages, and yet at home our children are being, as soon as they wake up, they're at school and they go to sleep, they speak English. And so it's important that if you are a Swati family, isiSwati is spoken at home.
For sure. Keep that culture, which is so important. It's very difficult to have a conversation like this and not bring up what's happening in South Africa and these xenophobic incidences. And it's important, obviously, as a country to integrate all of the cultures and all of the different languages that we do have here. But at the same time, I mean, you can see from the emblem on our screen here that the SABC caveats all the time, we are Africa. How are we addressing the issue of South Africans embracing foreign nationals?
I think it starts with embracing who you are. Because once you're confident in who you are and where you come from, it's easier for you to embrace the rest. Because basically we're all Africans. And the minute we start looking at ourselves, especially during this month, which is Africa Month, as the CRL Rights Commission, we're prioritizing everything that is African. And we're saying, as Africans, let's look at issues, for instance, of African religion, because that's a unifier in the continent. Throughout the continent, we believed in African religion long before colonization. But we want to say to people, just as much as we have different religions, we have different languages, we have different cultures, we're still part of the bigger continent. And I think the more we educate our people, the more we make them aware that we're part of the continent. And we stop saying, oh, I'm going to Africa, when you're going to the rest of the continent, like you're not in Africa. And I think those things will begin to tell us that we are Africans.
Absolutely.
And we're part of the bigger world. So it's a long walk.
I think it's a fantastic initiative. I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you. Thanks for talking to us. Suli Motsweni, who is from a Group Executive from Corporate Affairs, and talking to us here from CRL is the chair of this organization, Toko Mkhwanazi Xolova. Thank you very much for being our guest on the program. All right, quick break here on Morning Live, then the news with Ayanda, and then we cross over to Peter for a TNA. Stay tuned.